Listen, let's just sit down and take a breeze for a second. I want to talk to you about something that I know has been really weighing on you. You have got this massive list of things to do, right? But instead of actually doing them, you just kind of sit there. You watch another explainer, you stare at the wall, you feel this heavy sinking guilt sitting right in your chest, but you just cannot force yourself to start. I get it. I really, really do. Think about it for a second. Have you ever been called lazy? Maybe it was by a teacher when you were growing up, or a boss who just didn't understand your process, or maybe, and honestly, this is the hardest one. Maybe you have called yourself lazy. It's a uniquely painful feeling, isn't it? To know you have the potential to do great things, but to feel completely trapped staring at a blank wall instead of checking off that to-do list. Well, what if I told you that you are not actually lazy? The psychology we are diving into today suggests a massive paradigm shift. What looks like laziness on the outside is actually very often a sign of high intelligence on the inside. Intelligent brains just process the world differently. They demand efficiency, they crave stimulation, and they overanalyze absolutely everything. And sometimes your massive mental horsepower just freezes up. Alright, so let's get into the first part here, chaos and activation energy. Let's start with your physical space. If we take a look at your desk right now, it probably looks like a tornado just hit it. You know, half empty coffee cups, random sticky notes, things you literally haven't touched in weeks. Now, society's view is that a messy desk means a disorganized mind. But science actually disagrees. Highly intelligent people thrive in what psychologists call controlled chaos. Your brain doesn't see a mess, it sees a landscape of ideas. You leave things out because your brain is constantly making connections between totally unrelated objects. You are not avoiding cleaning up because you are lazy. You are avoiding it because deep down your brain knows exactly where everything is. And cleaning it would ruin your entire system. And you know that brings us to the second sign. You wait until the absolute last minute to start anything. You might have a whole week to finish a project, but you do absolutely nothing until the night before. Why? Because your intelligent brain flat out refuses to turn on without a reason. It's conserving a mental energy. But when that deadline is, say, 12 hours away, panic sets in. And you use the panics for hyperfocus, often knocking out a week's worth of work in 3 hours. And the crazy part is the work is actually good. You don't procrastinate because you are lazy. You procrastinate because your brain demands a challenge. So the crucial point here is grounded right in the science. Intelligent brains often suffer from a lack of what we call activation energy. Basically, if a task doesn't feel urgent or highly stimulating, a smart brain will literally refuse to initiate it. It's a kind of like trying to start a fire with a damp wood. But when that deadline panic hits, the panic floods your brain with a dopamine and adrenaline. Boom. The activation energy is suddenly met and your brain is firing on all cylinders. Moving on to part 2, daydreaming and perfectionism. You zone out constantly. You could be sitting in a meeting or washing the dishes and your mind is suddenly a million miles away. People might snap their fingers and tell you to pay attention. But listen to me, daydreaming is not a glitch, it's a feature of high IQ brain. When a task is too simple or just plain boring, an intelligent brain uses its extra processing power to run stimulations. You imagine future conversations. You are solving complex problems or building entire worlds in your head. So, what looks like a laziness to the outside world is actually your brain running at the maximum capacity on the inside. And this brilliantly illustrates our next sign. You make simple things incredibly difficult. Let's say you just need to write a simple email. A normal person just writes it and hits write. But you first write the first sentence, second you analyze the tone for about 45 minutes. A third, you agonized over all the possible reactions and the recipient might have. This is not laziness, this is perfectionism disguised as the procrastination. Because highly intelligent people can see all the variables and all the possible outcome of the situation. You are not avoiding the work. You are completely paralyzed by the sheer number of the way you could do the work perfectly. Your brain is literal supercompute, but sometimes it just crashes from having a way too many tabs open at once, which brings us to part 3, the art of optimization. Bill Gates famously said, I will always choose a lazy person to do difficult jobs because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. Just think about that for a second. If you are constantly looking for a way to automate your work, skip unnecessary steps, or hack the system, you are prioritizing the outcome over the effort. And that, my friend, is a massive sign of intelligence. Psychologists actually have a name for this, the neural efficiency hypothesis. It's a tendency of intelligent brains to absolutely hate wasting energy on the repetitive tasks. Your desire to hack the system is not you being lazy or trying to cheat. It is your brain seeking to automate and optimize. You are not lazy, you are just an optimizer. And this also explains why you probably have a terrible memory for useless facts. If someone asks you a trivial question, you might draw a complete blank. But smart people don't memorize facts, they memorize systems. You know exactly how to Google the answer or where to find that information in a 5 seconds flat. To an outside observer, it might look like you don't know anything or you are too lazy to study. But in reality, your brain is just acting like a highly efficient search engine, keeping its RAM clear for actual problem solving. Okay, let's look at a part 4, the imposter syndrome trap. There is a really fascinating psychological concept called Dunning-Kruger effect. It basically proves that people with low ability often overestimate their intelligence while actually highly intelligent people constantly doubt theirs. Because you are smart, you are painfully aware of how much you don't know. And this awareness it breeds imposter syndrome. And this leads us a pretty heavy core truth. You delay starting projects because you secretly fear that if you actually try to your absolute hardest and fail, well, it will prove you are not smart after all. Think about how heavy that is to your brain. It feels safer to do nothing and be called lady than to try your very best and fail. So, if you related the most of these signs today, I really want to stop beating yourself up right now. Let's get go. You have a Ferrari engine in your head, but you have spent your whole life trying to drive it like a Honda. Of course, it's going to stall. It's going to act up because it just wasn't built for a normal commute. You just need to learn how to drive it. So, I guess the only question left is you are ready to finally trick your brain into doing the hard work.